Matt McLaughlin is an attorney in California, and in the past, he tried to file a ballot initiative that would enforce the teaching of the Bible in public schools, which, of course, is against our policies. It's basically against our Constitution because it's a school recommending or endorsing a specific religion. Well, he's at it again, and this time he is attacking the gay community. Now, gay marriage in California is finally legal. He's probably freaking out about it, and so he filed a ballot initiative that would basically make it illegal to be gay, and it would allow people to shoot individuals if they're gay. Let me give you the details. He writes in the filing, the abominable crime against nature known as buggery, also called sodomy, is a monstrous evil that Almighty God, giver of freedom and liberty, commands us to suppress on pain of our utter destruction, even as he overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. He also says the following, seeing that it is better that offenders should die rather than all of us should be killed by God's just wrath against us for the folly of tolerating wickedness in our midst, the people of California wisely command in the fear of God that any person who willingly touches another person of the same gender for purposes of sexual gratification be put to death by bullets to the head or by any other convenient method.
Convenient.
Now, I love that. Well, yeah. So the first time I did this story on the Young Turks, I had a laugh because obviously this guy is hiding something. See, here's the thing. I'm straight, right? And so when I think about the gay community or gay individuals, even when I was more conservative and I didn't know if I was in favor of gay marriage, I never immediately thought about gay sex. But this guy can't stop thinking about gay sex. He's like, they touch one another for sexual gratification. Like, why are you so concerned about that? And also, why are you trying so hard to overcompensate for something? So that was my initial point. But I think another point that I want to make is that this guy is inciting violence. I mean, yes, he's filing a ballot initiative that is unlikely to actually make it on the ballot, but you are basically calling on people to shoot and kill homosexuals in the country. That is beyond inciting violence, if you ask me. So I don't understand why people like this don't get investigated. He's insane. Benjamin, make your point.
Yeah, I think the main point of the ballot isn't that surprising. I think there's many people who would want to see, gay sex banned or whatever, and I'm sure there's loads of people trying. But it's like the Southern playbook. It's trying to turn something that's legal and make it illegal by technicality. Like gay sex, you can have gay sex, but you can't touch each other. It's like, it's like with abortions and things. So. But it's the specific language he put in it with the, you can murder fellow citizens on the street if you think they're buggering someone. I think that's the point where people are like, oh, I don't like people having gay sex either, but I'm not up for executing them in the head, just
or by any other convenient method,
or any other convenient to myself. Let's organize a time where we can meet and then I can execute you.
Right.
It's unbelievable. Mela, make your point.
So on one hand, I think it's hilarious. Like there's just so much comedy if you read this whole proposal. On the other hand, like you said, though, it is it is inciting violence. It's saying if you don't kill them, God's going to kill the rest of us. Which, by the way, sodomy is not exclusively in the homosexual community. So
yeah, and sodomy is not just butt sex. Like sodomy also includes fellatio, cunnilingus.
Yeah, we're all dead.
Yeah,
we're all dead.
I mean, if we're lucky.
I don't know what you're talking about.
When God arrives, or Almighty God takes his wrath, we're all dead. So on one hand, it's hilarious. I think there's so much comedy in here. It's never going to pass. And on the other hand, it's like, you're right. Like, why isn't someone going after this guy? This is inciting violence as far as I'm concerned.
It's unbelievable. So here's the question for the story. Have you ever been picked on or ridiculed for any of your characteristics? Benjamin?
The only thing I can think of really is I run funny. I got a weird run.
So you've never been bullied or anything? Like you've always been the hip kid? You've never been
I wouldn't say I was the hip kid.
You always look like this?
But I was like semi-good at sports, but I had a really fucked up run, basically.
Okay,
my knees were knock-kneed, so they would kind of flare out on the sides. But then, but in England, it's not like, I don't know how it is here really, but there's not really like groups of people and bullies. Like everybody rinses each other and takes the piss out of each other. It's like, everybody's sarcastic and everybody gives it as much as they get. So I never really took it personally. And then if I ever did, if it ever got to me, I'm like, well, I could probably run faster than that person anyway. So I was like, well, let's just run.
Mela, you moved here from Ethiopia and you moved to a southern country. So I want to hear your story.
So and I moved to Oxford, Mississippi, of all places. I got so many stereotypes thrown at me from like, do you have enough to eat? Because at the time, Ethiopia was like, 5 years out of a famine.
Oh my God.
Do you guys live in huts? And then I moved from like Mississippi to Massachusetts, and it was like, did you guys wear overalls all the time? And it's like, guys, we are in the same country. Like, it is not that different. You know, so for me, it was, I never took it seriously. Even when I was a kid, I mean, I thought it was bizarre, but it never like hurt me.
Yeah.
I think my brother, who was a little bit younger and a boy, took it maybe a little bit more seriously than I did, but I'm just so used to like that level of ignorance, so it's never really bothered me.
I've had people in America tell me, you speak English real good.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
You speak English real good.
It's English.
Real good.
Real good.
Unbelievable. We're not all idiots. So I got ridiculed for a lot of different things. There was a point of time where my parents were not doing so well financially, so I wore a lot of hand-me-downs, and they weren't exactly the most fashionable clothes. And I went to a middle school that was full of wealthy kids, and so they made fun of the way I dressed. I don't have a big nose anymore, but I used to have a big nose, and I used to get made fun of for that all the time. And then also I'm Armenian, and I went to a school that was predominantly Latino, and so my mom would always pack me an Armenian lunch, and they would be like, what's that stinky food? And so I would be so embarrassed by the food that I would eat, but now I think about it, and I'm like, if I could get my hands on my mom's cooking, like, I don't care what anyone has to say about the way it smells.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you go through things like that when you're a kid, but thankfully my mom also taught me to be a fighter. So like when people bullied me, she'd like give me ways to like kind of fight back, not physically, but
Kids
you know.
will find any sort of difference to pick on. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no big deal.
So have you ever been a victim of any kind of bullying or stereotyping? We do want to hear from you guys, so comment in the section below. And as always, we will see you soon.